This is not. I don't know why I always struggle.
With Mike.
Michael checks. Stay.
Yeah, this
Okay.
thing, you gotta sing to it.
Whoa.
Get it. Desperado. Living in
Go ahead, kick us off.
Monte Carlo. Let's get it.
Alicia, start.
We're starting.
We've been started.
And do it. Because last week we messed up our intro.
You messed up our intro.
We'll get it. You would think 2 seasons down and we'll be like,
No, we're not professionals. That's part of the problem.
I'm a fucking professional.
Are you?
And is.
I've seen evidence otherwise.
Man, listen, why you gotta bring up old stuff?
No, it's not. We're currently going through the stuff, the non-professionalism right now.
Stuff? Did it happen 30 seconds ago?
Yeah.
That's old stuff. What are you talking?
Okay.
That's
right.
old news, fake
I'm just
news.
waiting for her to start the episode, y'all. Just whenever.
Fake news, old news.
Whenever she has time,
Alternative
we'll
facts.
start. So.
Bullshit baddies, come chill with Ari and Lee up in the house tonight. Best believe they gon' change your life. Bullshit baddies, those bullshit baddies, bullshit baddies, bullshit baddies, bullshit baddies. Best believe they gon' change your life.
What's up, baddies? How y'all doing today? It's your girl Lee and Ari,
I'm here.
and we're back. Listen, we're back with another episode today. I think y'all are gonna have some fun with this one. I know Ari was like super excited when I told her this is what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
She's like, I love this.
Yeah, because we never actually have ideas.
We don't.
Like, y'all know that about
We be
us.
winging it real
Every
bad.
time.
Yeah. So this is gonna be a good one. So what we talking about?
We're talking about soul ties.
Come on. What's that Jay-Z song? It's not Soul Ties, but it's like, wait. So down my eye. So I gotta come on. What it is?
Make the song cry.
Make the song. So I gotta make the soul tie, bitch.
Okay, so
And she's on it.
yeah,
At
yeah,
the beginning.
yeah.
Like normal.
Honestly, before
we're
we even
back.
really start going,
We're
she
back
would
with the shenanigans. You know what I mean?
shen and again, and again and again. Yeah, so soul ties.
How y'all doing today, though?
Okay, reel it in, girl. Come on,
I want to know.
because they're gonna answer you right now.
Yeah, let us know. Comment. Let us know how y'all doing today.
All
'Cause
right.
I'm doing okay. A little bit tired, but how
Tired's
are you?
our baseline. You say that shit every episode.
Because it be true, though. It
Any-
be so true.
Anywho is what are soul ties? How do you feel about them?
Okay.
Since that's what we're talking about, because you
It
may not
is.
have remembered that's the subject of this episode because she spent 32 minutes ranting. So to reiterate, today's episode
It's
is
about soul ties.
soul ties.
It is. But they know that now, though. Right? They already know. If y'all coming back, y'all already know. We gonna get off topic. But one of the things that we said was we didn't want to define it, right? We didn't want to put a specific definition on soul ties. And I think that's because of the way that we both look at it as having to like deal with attachment. Right?
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
the way that, like attachment plays a role in like your life or whatever. So I don't want to, add a definition to it. But what I will say is it's very personal, I think, right? To feel like you're, connected to someone to the point where like your soul is involved. You know what I mean? Like such a deep level of connection with someone. And it's not for me to say that you have that.
Can you bust down? I agree with all of that. Can you bust down like what attachment is?
Excuse me. Yes.
That throat been dry since yesterday.
Girl, it's not getting better. So when I say, what we have is one of the things we looked at soul ties was anxious attachment or whatever. And so it's the way that you connect with other people based on like
Your caregiving.
based on like the way that you grew up, based on the things that you were exposed to when you were growing up. So like for instance, if if like love was like stripped away from you, or if you weren't like loved enough, then when you are an adult, it might present itself as you like looking for love all the time, or you're afraid to like get love. So I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I can clarify it a little bit more.
Okay.
So, in regards to like attachment, it comes from whoever the caregiver was when you were a child, and that caregiver, whether it be a parent, whether it be whomever, is a representative of like how you receive love or how love was demonstrated to you. So through that attachment between your caregiver and you, whether it was healthy or not, and some of the unhealthy attachments are like anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, which Alicia was talking about. Anxious attachment is when like you feel emotional distance with an individual and you start like gravitating, trying to pull them in. What people would maybe describe as clingy behavior would be anxious attachments. Avoided attachment are the people when they start feeling too connected to individuals, they pull back. And that is, they start stonewalling, which is like you shut down, you don't really have any engagement with that individual. And that all can come from, and then there's secure attachment as well, which means you had a very healthy relationship with whomever your caregiver was. So those different types of attachments are how you learn to love, basically, and how you learn to receive love. So if your attachment is anxious, Alicia and I both kind of agreed that can become what some include to be a soul tie or things like that, because it's like just really strong emotional attachment and you feel like you're gravitating towards these individuals when in fact it's like it could be truly based in your attachment. And I think that's why we kind of wanted to talk about this today, is to bring up a different perspective in soul ties and not to discredit anybody's view on them, because if you believe that you have a soul tie with somebody, that's your truth, and own that shit. And I absolutely support that for you. We just wanted to bring a different perspective on it and kind of, like we always do, just provide an alternative view on what maybe a soul tie could mean for individuals who experience them often. Because it could maybe be related in how you attach to individuals, and unpacking that could maybe help lead to a more secure attachment. So if you then feel like you have a soul tie with an individual that you also have a secure attachment to, it's not something based in unhealthiness. So
fair.
Yeah.
And I think that another reason we wanted to talk about this is because when you say a soul tie, right? A lot of that comes from purity culture. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
The term soul tie.
Yeah.
Right. Based in the fact that when you're, if you're not waiting to have sex until you're married to have sex, then when you go and have sex with other people outside of your beloved, then you're like leaving parts of your soul, leaving parts of yourself with those other people, thereby making you impure, right? Making you, not ready or
not worthy
enough to like be with like whoever's going to be your forever partner.
Yeah. And I think a lot of purity culture, and we talk a lot about purity culture, but I think a lot of it is based in heteronormative perspectives, monogamous perspectives. And that type of promotion is not always inclusive to how everybody experiences love and attachment. And how it can be very much based in shame and like guilt. So so telling an individual that
a part of you is left over here with this
just
person,
because you've had sex with a person is, to me, it's honestly a scary thought.
It is.
Like
oh my God.
Yeah, like your soul is such an intimate part of yourself and like in the essence of who you are. So if you're leaving bits of that with with people who aren't your beloved, who aren't going to be your forever partner, and if you don't if you're not monogamous, like that is very guilt ridden and shame ridden. And so if you've come from a very religious background and you've had those types of experience, or if you not necessarily experienced, but like you've been told those types of things, consider this is that the guilt and the shame that is based in purity culture in some religious aspects can really invalidate the validity of what people are experiencing and how they experience love and attachment.
Definitely. Because you think about it, right? If you're telling me that pieces of myself are left with whoever I sleep with, it's like at some point there's not going to be nothing left.
Yeah, like for me, I would have nothing left.
I'm actually a shell.
Big
of a
hole.
person.
Yeah.
Like,
it's giving skin.
Gaping
That's all.
hole inside
Who has
of
a
me
soul?
somewhere
Not me.
because, of all of these, different things. And I also think it's interesting when we talk soul ties and like not necessarily what that means, but like what it entails, right? When I say soul tie, I'm talking about those like super extreme, intense like feelings, right? That you have, maybe like after sex, after orgasm, the feeling of being like, extremely connected, like the person is a part of you in a sense, right? But a lot of those feelings after sex are just normal,
or like literally biological,
it's
physiological.
oxytocin, bitch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't call it the love bug hormone for nothing. You know what I mean? And so when it's released, it makes you feel that way, right? And it's literally doing its job. And so, is it is it our job or is it anybody else's job to say that if you feel this way after you orgasm, then like you're forever connected to this person? Like what is that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally understand that. I don't think excuse me. And I think like when you think about purity culture, you think about religion, like that's probably one of my biggest frustrations with that. Nothing to do with faith, nothing to do with belief. It's just like the amount of shame and guilt that comes with promoting these types of ideologies is not healthy. And I can say that being in like the career field I am now is like I spend a lot of time working with individuals and unpacking their religious shame. And so having conversations about like what this means to you and what that meant growing up to you and how that was taught to you has been really deep, like honestly soul work, because it does become so ingrained in these thought processes.
Have you had experiences with people telling you about like soul ties, right? People saying these things to you in like a religious or Christian capacity, spiritual capacity, religious capacity?
I haven't had any specific conversations regarding and surrounding soul ties, but I have had several conversations regarding religion and sexuality.
I got you.
There is a very, very, in my experience with my clientele, a very direct line between like religion coming from a very like Catholic base, very traditionally conservative based religion, and being an individual that is trying to now understand their sexuality. There's so much shame and there's so much guilt. And I spend a very great deal of the sessions just normalizing feelings and validating them, because it's like, no, like there's no shame in your having a preference that you do, having the kink that you do. There's no shame in not knowing the things that you don't know. There's no shame in all of these things. There shouldn't be any guilt, and helping them understand that you can still own your faith and you can still own your religion and not be bound and held back by the shame and the guilt that comes with a lot of the ideologies behind those conservative religions.
That's fair. Profizi, I want to kind of get your take on this too, because I think, again, different perspectives, but have you ever, I guess, been faced with or felt like you were, tied to someone's soul, right? Like had a soul tie with someone?
I've never felt I've never felt that way before, but I will say that I've had conversations with people who have felt like soul ties are direct correlations of intimate moments with people. And so like whenever people have those sexual encounters, that's the reason why I have a couple of friends now who really don't like having sex as much, because of the idea of there being soul ties on the back end. So they don't want to have sex as many times, or I have some friends who are celibate or whatever. They just, they feel that way. Yeah, or abstinent. Yeah, they feel that way because they just choose not to involve themselves in those type of relationships because they feel like there is some type of soul tie that will be attached to the person that they're intimate with. And a lot of times, you know, the opposite partner don't look at sex like that. They look at it as just a good time. So I don't think I've ever encountered any like that. I'm just trying to go through my mental database or whatever.
The database.
Come on, database. Wait
But
a minute.
I don't think I've ever. I mean, I don't think I've ever encountered anyone or any type of situation like that. I mean, because I was a dog ass nigga too, so
Come on.
that makes a difference too. But overall, but overall, I do believe in the idea of it.
Okay.
It's just that I've never been attached to people like that.
Yeah.
You know, or attached to someone so much so to where I felt like a piece of me has stayed with that person.
Okay.
You know.
So I actually have a question for the both of you. Being that y'all are monogamous, do you feel, not even monogamous, being that y'all are married, do you feel that you have soul ties with your spouse?
Do I feel no? Because I don't. It's not. I feel like I'm connected. I feel like I'm connected to him, but I don't necessarily look at soul ties as being like secure and healthy for me. And so because of that, then I don't think that I have like a soul tie to him. Although I am like extremely connected to my partner. Yeah.
What about you?
I think I have a soul tie with my wife because if something were to happen with our relationship, I don't think I would ever be able to view other people the same way that I view her. I don't think I would be able to view other relationships the way that I view this one because I have so much invested in this relationship. And I think in my opinion, to kind of go opposite of what you're saying, I think in my opinion, I think a connection is a soul tie to me.
Okay, I got you.
Because if you're going to be connected to that person, then you're connected mind, body, and soul, right? So I think I believe that I do have a soul tie with my spouse. Yes,
I got you. And I'm thank you for saying that. I'm glad that you did because I like to hear, right, like how different people, even though you were both married, in these partnerships, we can still look at things differently. You know what I mean? And I think it just makes it super helpful. And it doesn't mean that either of us is wrong. It just means that we're just different, right?
Yeah.
Different perspective, different opinions on situations. Yeah. I also think though that at least when I'm working with clients, when they talk about, when they talk about soul ties, it's usually in
Dry.
a
I
more
don't understand why her throat is so dry.
a more negative light, right?
Maybe.
They look at it as more of like a negative thing. Like I don't want to be doing all this because I don't want to be like soul tied to that person, right? I don't want to be, lasting connected.
And
to
I think
this
that's what
person.
Like Profizi was saying. Like he knows a lot of people who aren't interested in having intimate connections because they do feel. Is it intimate or sexual?
sexual.
Okay, that's fascinating to me because I think I would create. I would more associate soul ties with like an intimate emotional connection than a sexual.
Gotcha. Why?
But why? Because for me, in my experience, being emotionally connected to somebody, having that type of like intimacy, vulnerability within an individual is more deeper and more meaningful than just the physicality of sex. So, and I think because I just don't prescribe to the thought process that like if you have sex with somebody, you're leaving a piece of you, like that is irrelevant in my thought process. It's not something I really consider at all. Is that if I have sex with this person, I'm leaving a piece of me, like not at all. But
you know what that reminds me of? Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
pieces of me, Britney Spears.
No, no, it reminds me of the I don't know if it's an actual stat, but it's like when you sleep with this person, you're sleeping with like, and they've slept with 3 people, and then now you.
Is that a sexual health stat?
Do you know what I mean? I think
I've heard
think,
of this,
you know,
but is it a sexual health stat?
I think it is.
Okay.
Or like sexual health, or like because like I think it's for STIs, STDs, and stuff like that.
that makes sense.
But it kind of reminds me of that too, like with the leaving pieces of you. It's like you know,
I'm not sleeping with you. I'm sleeping with the 30 other people you've also slept with. And that's
them,
exhausting to
and
think
then
about.
like the others that they've also slept with.
And to me, like, I can understand it from the sexual health perspective, but even then it's like how true is that? Because if the individual is responsible and
Right.
is healthy and they regularly get tested and they use protection and things like that, you're not sleeping with the 30 other people they slept with, because in most cases they aren't diagnosable with some type of infection.
Right.
So
And they're like
even then,
taking showers, hopefully, you know, and things like
you would
that.
assume that they have good
Hygiene.
hygiene practices and that they that matters, and they're a person that values their sexual health. So even then, I hear shame,
Right?
in that, and I
Same.
hear,
No, same.
and I hear another way of guilting it and trying to use statistics and research to justify that
Exactly.
type of, and I think that's fucked up.
No, it's
and I
horrible.
don't think
It's
that's
actually
acceptable, because it's not realistic, and it's not, even from my experience, it's not how it works. Like it's not real. It's not realistic.
It doesn't
It's
make
not
any sense.
reality.
It's actually a travesty.
Travis Scott T.
It's but that brings me to another question.
Yeah, what's
right?
up?
So, you know, you can protect yourself in like other like sexual encounters.
Protect yourself.
How do you think it's possible for people who do believe in like soul ties as an actual thing, right? Like, how do you think they can protect themselves from that besides like abstaining?
That's
from
a great
sex?
fucking question.
You know, like, what do you like if they want to enjoy sex, right? But they don't want to be, you know, tied to like an individual. Like, what do you think they can do to help themselves with that?
This is difficult for me to answer because of how I view soul ties, but I am going to try. My immediate thought is, because, you know, I lead from a place of consent and curiosity. So have a conversation with the individual, and maybe, if at all possible, explain to them like how you define sex. Because to me, that's what I hear. It's what sex means to you as an individual. So if sex is something that's incredibly intimate, incredibly important, and it's not something that you want to engage in with multiple people, is because you do believe pieces of you are left with that individual, is explain to your partner at that time the value that sex has to you. And with the hopes of being transparent, like, if we have sex, this is what it means to me. It means X, Y, and Z. And it's something I feel is very important and intimate, and not for everyone. So it's not something I'm willing to just engage with multiple people. And you don't necessarily have to go, I believe in soul ties, and when we have sex, like, that's not what it has to be, because it really is about how you define sex and what it means to you. So explaining that, being transparent with your partner about it, and establishing a boundary can be incredibly helpful to manage how you experience soul ties.
Definitely doing some soul searching at the forefront so that you can know the language.
Yeah.
You could know what that means.
And I, like, for a lot of the people I encounter, like even friends or clients or elsewise, I ask them, like, what does sex mean to you? And it's so crazy
funny.
how many people don't have a fucking
They're like,
answer. I'm like, what do you mean? You've been fucking for 82 years. You don't know what sex means to you?
Not the ancient D.
Yeah, you got that. It's giving old pussy. Like, but you don't know what it means to you.
Medieval times.
Yes, Puritan. Okay.
Gladiators.
Not the Greeks, because the Greeks were hoes. Like, it's not giving that. It's not giving Greek mythology at all. Because Zeus, y'all,
Out here,
big slut,
fucking.
king slut,
King D.
King D.
That's such a powerful question, right? And it's such a good like self-reflection exercise too.
Oh, I love assigning that.
Yeah.
Like, I have, I've actually sent this to friends.
Yeah.
I have this thing, and it's like learning about what sex to you means to you. And it goes mind, body, emotions, heart, and things like that. And it has very specific questions, and then physical. And it's like, what touches are okay? What touches aren't okay? What are you comfortable with? What do you prefer? X, Y, and Z. And it's like,
that to me.
I absolutely will. And I have had people who have, I have had couples who have done it, and then we are now at war because we did not know anything about how we feel about sex. And so like it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I'm like, oh, so this is what it means to you, but over here,
That reminds me of my the thing that I do with some of my couples is the ideal like what is your ideal
day.
partner?
Oh,
You know, I do like qualities that you like in an ideal partner.
isn't that fucking funny?
It's hilarious.
Because first of all, you're not dating. You're not married
Right.
to your ideal partner. Your
Right.
your
But like,
spouse has three of the things.
I give them like permission, you know, to like include things that are already in, you know, if there's something in your relationship that makes it ideal, like make sure to add that on your list.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then of course it ends up being a war, even though I let them know like this is just a fantasy, right? This is like
it's
not real, you know.
The thing
like, but
is there's so
but,
much
like,
reality.
Yeah,
in
it is.
Yeah,
because they end up thinking they're attacking.
we're basically
each other.
telling you therapists are all very manipulative.
They think you're attacking. They think they're attacking each other. Like my ideal partner makes like $300,000 a year, stuff like that.
But you over here
works
making
at Popeyes. And he's like, oh, so you are a nigga that make bank? You know how long?
So you calling me broke? So you just think I'm a broke ass nigga? Oh, so you a gold digger now? I ain't know that about you. You just want him. You just want him for his money. You just trying to be a sugar baby out
my
here.
God,
Yeah, it's
it's
hilarious.
Fun, but it, you know, stuff like I love that though because it
It's
forces
incredibly
them.
insightful.
Yes,
And that's really like, yeah, we joke like, oh, therapists are manipulative, but like we're trying to say the whole point of the conversations that we have here on Baddies, the conversations we have with our clients, the conversations we have with the people that we love is to challenge their thinking and
Yes.
provide a deeper understanding of who they are as a human and how they're moving in this world. Because I believe in the collective. Like we all navigate and we all impact each other directly or indirectly. So if you don't have a greater understanding of yourself, or if you're not pushing yourself to find that understanding of yourself, whether it be about your personality, your sexuality, any of the itties, it's you didn't like that.
I did not. What the fuck? The itties, bitch. Itty
The itties. It really, like, you won't know. You need to understand yourself. And these are ways to like improve that self-knowledge.
Not us giving them homework.
I'll post the link to my little.
Look, post the link. We're
in
gonna drop it
here,
in the
yeah.
show notes so that y'all can, you know, it'll be fun. You know,
It's
insightful.
so
Do
good.
with
I did it
yourself,
for
do with your
myself. Like
partner.
everything I do I've given to my clients, I have also completed because first of all, I need to know what the fuck you're doing.
You need to know how hard it is.
And two,
right?
like it's not fair for me to hold somebody else accountable for things that I don't understand about myself. That's
Exactly.
very hypocritical.
Oh, it is.
And that's not how I move as a
Hippocratic
clinician. Yeah. Hippocratic Ocean. Oh my
no,
God.
that's true. Wait, what the fuck were we even talking about?
I literally, you said Hippocratic Ocean. I said Hippocratic Oath.
Come on, doctor. Be a physician.
Okay, yeah. So I guess we were talking about soul ties.
We
at one
were.
point.
We were talking about soul ties, and you were just kind of given tips on like how not to, especially if you view soul ties as something negative, right? Then how can you protect? That's what it was. How can you protect yourself in a situation if you still want to engage in sex, right? Consensual, of course, safety and consent.
Well, it's not sex, if
but
it's
yeah,
not
fair.
consensual.
But if you want to engage in sexual activity, but you believe in soul ties
like
and
that.
protect yourself from that. So I think you gave some good advice on that. Yeah,
Cool.
I think so.
Do you have any other viewpoints or thoughts
I don't
in regards to
that's
soul
not
ties?
mine, but I was watching a podcast the other day, and he was actually talking about this, and one I can't remember the name of the podcast. But I really wanted your thoughts on this because he says if you don't believe in soul ties, that soul ties are real. He goes, what do you say to the person who's when they start having sex with someone and then all of a sudden, it was so convoluted, all of a sudden shit that didn't used to piss you off starts to now piss you off, or now you start taking on their like traits, right? Like you're, the person, whoever you're sleeping with, you start taking on their traits, right? So the way that he was discussing soul
Like,
ties,
oh, y'all are
was like,
fucking, and then now you have an emotional attachment.
You
So now
have an
things are
emotional
bothering
attachment.
him. But we want to relate that to soul ties.
right? Because this is exactly
That's
right?
not what's happening.
And he's,
That's
so
not
you're
the
taking
truth.
on their characteristics as your own, right? And and it's playing out this way, and he goes, but soul ties not real. But like you didn't like plead your case, my guy. So what are you?
Awful lawyer. Yeah. Awful lawyer. You lost your case for sure.
Right? But I thought it was really insightful because I wish I could remember the podcast because it was pretty, a big one. So a lot of people listen to this and a lot of people get like just different kinds of, I don't want to say misinformation, but I want to say different kinds of information.
Yeah. Well, my first thing.
well.
My first thing is my first thing is
Here's the thing.
Here's
the thing.
I don't want to drag because I don't know. Not only that, like I didn't hear it for myself,
right?
So based off of
secondhand information,
it's giving hearsay.
Barely.
Based off of the hearsay that I have from this one, I am frustrated by the comment because there's a lack of like education surrounding just normal biology. I know. Like
I know.
the strong connection that the individual is talking about is literally attachment.
Yeah.
Like, so, and attachment comes from physiological things as oxytocin, which is the love bug, which fosters connection, therefore leads to attachment. So the frustration with the comment that I heard, secondhand information, is like we don't know how the body and brain works.
Right.
And I don't like that. I don't enjoy that. And everybody is absolutely entitled to an opinion, but my frustration, but negates, and I'm negating, my frustration is that a lot of people with very large platforms lack education to be presenting accurate information to the community.
Fair.
And what I hear, and it could be from the education I have, the training I have, just the general understanding of humans that I have because of my own life experiences, I hear a nigga who don't know shit trying to make a correlation between shit without realizing the actual physiological, biological, and sociological impacts of what is going on in sex and life and attachment. So I just want...
Come on, Bishop.
Arts. I that's something that's really like very, very important to me as a human and as a person, and especially knowing that I will have the platform, do have the platform to be influencing others' thought process. I don't want... It is misinformation. Let's call it what it is.
There we go.
It's misinformation. But based in opinion. And everybody's allowed to have their opinion. But coming from a person with the education, coming from the training, that's not how it works.
And also, lived experience doesn't mean education, right?
Not at all, nigga.
It doesn't equate. Just because you've been through
some shit. Just
because you've had situations and, it doesn't mean that like you know what you're talking about. You know your experience,
right? And your experience is your truth, and your perspective is reality, and it doesn't negate that at all. But it does not mean it's training, education, or factual to what the common and masses experience.
Like when you say that there to be a big F like coming out of your mouth, like
factual, because like seriously, that's not what it is. Like. That is my frustration with social media, common media today. Like we have had a very intense conversation today, but like genuinely I know when we created this podcast, when we decided to make it videos and things like that, that's something that is very important to us and we're passionate about, is like having factual, non-judgmental, unbiased information that comes from evidence-based research.
Yeah.
And what that individual is saying and
It's
what
not.
it's not evidence-based at all. And I can confidently say most things that come out of my mouth in this podcast are based in evidence
Yeah.
and have been researched and have been peer reviewed. And I think that's what separates us from a lot of the other individuals out here in the community. It's like we actually have the education to know what we're talking about. And not only do we have the education, we're continually getting it.
Yeah.
And we're challenging ourselves to learn, and we're hearing these other perspectives and gathering just a larger thought process and knowledge base in order to understand how others move in the world. But at the end of the day, we are based in research. And we are based in science. And that is the difference. That's what sets us apart. And that's why we have been really passionate about like people coming to the Baddies and learning, is because like we know we research every episode. We know that we do all of these things to really, in my mind, set us apart from just people giving their opinions on podcasts and being entertaining. Like we're not here to entertain. We're a good fucking time. We're not here to entertain. We're here to really provide a platform that is evidence-based and has education in it. That's why we
With
say
some shenanigans.
sprinkle.
With a little bit of us, because like we're a vibe.
What you got? Not the
Come
way.
on, chime in, pro.
I think he's full of shit.
Period.
I mean,
Listen.
It's giving my own experiences. It's giving,
Yeah.
I have anxious attachment. And because I'm only trying to be fuck buddy. I'm only trying to fuck on you. And then 3 fucks in, you like old girl or old boy or old individual. And now you're like, well, the shit that didn't bother me before bothers me now.
Right.
Yeah, anxious attachment. Because you're not communicating your needs, my guy. You're not setting up a boundary. You really moved in this like, I'm going to fuck on you. You going to fall in love with me. And now look at you.
You're lying.
You in love with the person.
In another perspective I heard was from another, this is a separate podcast.
Yeah.
But this one, trigger warning, it's based in like misogyny. It's based in heteronormativity. But it was
those ivvities.
Come on, Ivity. Itty. But this one, it was a male who was speaking, again, of course. And he said women, right, Volvo owners, well, I'll say what he said. Women are more likely to experience soul ties. Are you ready? Why? Are you ready for this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Women are more likely to experience soul ties because they're receiving, right? Like they're being entered into. So like, I know, right? Ew. So, the guy is like, leaving, he's leaving something
Literally
or whatever,
sometimes.
but they're holding on to all of that. Do you know what I mean? Like the woman is holding on to all of that, whereas the guy can just kind of do his thing and like leave. So like there is no attachment there. Or it's more likely for a guy to not feel attached because of that. Keeping in mind that oxytocin is released from both
Brains. Nothing to do with gender. Nothing to do with sex.
right?
Everything to do with the brain. Hi, Bubbish.
Hey, boo. So what do you think about that one?
Same deal as the other person. Like it's
Same.
same. It's an individual, and this is all my opinion, an individual that is trying to use their life experience as facts. And that's just not okay. Like one of the biggest thing I say to my clients is like, feelings are valid, but they are not facts.
No,
they aren't. They're misconstrued.
And they're unreliable sometimes.
All the time.
They're unreliable as fuck.
Yes, because they're based in emotions. And so that's not something that we can always trust.
Yeah.
So when individuals go on these platforms and they really try to promote their lived experiences as the correctness for all
The general
individuals,
consensus, right?
Yeah, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
It's giving Kevin Samuels. R.I.P. You're not supposed to speak ill of the dead.
Here. R.I.P. Mr. Samuels.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that at the end of the day, when it comes to soul ties, right, it's up to you to kind of decide if this is something that like you believe in, if it's something that you feel like you experience, and if it is, you can protect yourself from it, or you can try, right, if you're not trying to like have soul ties.
You're in control of everything in your life.
Yeah.
You always have
everything
a decision.
having to do with you. Yeah. You definitely are. So, think about it, right? Think about what how you view this. I think it's like a really good like discussion debate forum, for people to kind of have amongst themselves. Yeah.
I agree.
Any like lasting thoughts? Any final thoughts?
Learn about yourself.
Yeah.
Like learn if this resonates with you. Learn, kind of like just reflect and think about how you would define soul ties or how you just define any
How does it
experience
look in your life?
Yeah, and that's not only to just go with soul ties. That's and particularly with sex. I feel like it's very important to have a good understanding of what matters to you and how you define things. Because if you don't have an understanding, you're not going to be able to articulate it to others.
Yeah.
And to be an empowered and in control individual and an empowered sexual individual, that's vital. So I feel like at the end of the day, that's what the message of this episode is to like just get a better understanding of yourself and what soul ties or anything related to sexuality means for you so you can communicate it to your partners.
Yeah, I love that. And then once again, we'll link the quiz in
I'll
the
add
show
it.
notes of the episode so that y'all can do a little bit of self-exploration and let us know how it went.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. That's going to be it for us today.
Today was deep.
Yeah, I think so. I liked it, though.
giving
Remember to follow us. Remember to
Atlantis.
follow us on all platforms at...
The BS Baddie. You
There
didn't
we
catch
go.
my Atlantis joke?
I didn't.
All right, y'all.
Like us, and we'll check y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.